Hello beautiful, welcome back to my channel and welcome to this video that's gonna be a get ready with me. I am gonna put on a full face of makeup using some really fun makeup and I'm gonna answer some assumptions that you have about me. I asked you on my Instagram to give me some assumptions that you have about me so that I can react to them, and you did not hold back. I'm gonna take my ring off and start with some primer. I thought that this was a really fun assumption because I always get a lot of questions about like English and Swedish and talking about stuff like that. And this is, you're better at speaking English than speaking Swedish despite Swedish being your native language. And by the way, you're not anonymous when you leave stuff like this. So if you're rude, I'm gonna show the whole world that you're rude. But no, I am much better at Swedish than I'm at English. I'm actually pretty well articulated in Swedish. I always had pretty good grades in school when it came to all like writing assignments and stuff like that. I feel like I have a very good Swedish vocabulary, and when I was working at more a 7 to 4 like desk job, I did a lot of very official mails and very official decision-making documents that go into public records, and I am very well articulated in Swedish. So I'm not bad at English, but I'm definitely really good at Swedish. If you're wondering about any of the things that I'm going to be using in today's video, just check the description box down below. I will link everything and I will put like what shade I'm using, where you can find it, if I have any discount codes. My codes and my links may be affiliated, and if you do shop through them, I do earn a small commission. And if you do, thank you so much for supporting my channel. I thought this one was really funny. You are a label snob when it comes to clothing, and the same person says you like to buy expensive clothes. I am not really a label snob. Like for me, a good piece of garment doesn't have to come with a specific price tag or a specific label. But I will say I have noticed with time, and especially since I've actually noticed with time that I don't love shopping that much. And I know that this might come as like, people are like, that's not true, but I've realized that I like getting a new thing, I like wearing a new thing, but honestly, I don't like going in stores anymore. And I've noticed that I've found a couple of brands that I really like. Like, I like what they do, I like the quality that they have, and their fit is always good on me. So I tend to go to those brands, or I tend to go to those stores, and some of them are more on the expensive side. And I don't mind spending a little extra getting what I really want. I don't mind spending a little extra getting the item that I really wanted, instead of spending time going into stores that I really don't want to go into, trying to find a dupe that usually never is a dupe, and they're never as good quality, and I'd rather just buy the one thing. Like, I bought one dress. I bought a dress from House of CB and it's so beautiful. The quality is so amazing. I'm actually gonna wear it this weekend. Me and my husband are going on a date to a restaurant that he really wants to visit. I think it's called Ichiko. If you're in Austin, I think it's called Uchiko? Achiko? If you live in Austin, you're probably like, girl, you're so lost. But yeah, I'm gonna wear that dress to that, and I also have so many more occasions in mind when I want to wear it. So I am not a snob, but I also have realized I don't like the hunt going through stores trying to find, like, if I find something I really want and it's from a brand whose quality and like sizes work for me, I just buy that one thing, because I don't want to spend time doing that. When I was younger, I used to love the hunt. You know, the shopping hunt. I don't. I really don't. This one says you're a feminist. Yeah, I do believe in equal rights, and I do believe that women should be given the same opportunities as men. And there's no reason why a woman could not be as good at something as a man. So yeah, definitely for that reason, I'm a feminist. I don't hate men. I think that there's a misconception that feminists hate men. I love men. I married a man. But I really do think that there are things in place in society that just makes it really hard to be a woman sometimes. This one is really interesting because it actually is true in a sense, and this one is, you haven't made any money from Singe yet. And I feel like this is like hot piping tea, like, is my business failing? And if you didn't know, Singe is my beauty brand that I launched in March of this year. I'm gonna be trying out some things that I'm reviewing, and like I said, it will be down below. Technically, I have not taken out any money myself from Singe. I mean, I started Singe as a separate business. I think there are different ways to go about like starting a business like Singe. Like you could either continue doing it under, because I have a business, of course, for YouTube. Like my YouTube channel is an LLC, and then I decided to start Singe as a new LLC because I didn't want them to be intermixed with each other. Oh, let me put my ring back on. Let's not start any rumors, shall we? So I started Singe as a separate LLC, and I also told my accountant that I would like, if possible, to not withdraw any money myself from Singe as a paycheck throughout this first year, because I want to reinvest into making fun things for the future, because like that's what I want to do. I started Singe as a project to keep me trying more things with makeup, and if I ever got tired of reviewing makeup, there was a way for me to still be in the makeup community without reviewing it. I could instead be producing it. So that's one of the reasons why I started Singe. So technically, I put money from my personal savings account into Singe when I started Singe so that I would be able to purchase the brush sets, because manufacturers, they want to get paid when you are ordering the brushes. They don't want to get paid when you have sold the brushes. They don't care about that. That is your problem. So I put in a big chunk of money from my personal savings account into Singe Beauty to be able to purchase the brushes to start up the business. And so far, I have not taken any money out of Singe. So technically, on a personal level, yeah, you're correct. I have not made any money at all from Singe because I haven't given myself that money back, and I also haven't given myself a paycheck. But Singe has for sure made money. The company, there is money in the company, and I am planning, instead of giving myself a paycheck and instead of paying myself back that like first investment, I have decided to reinvest the money. And I'm hoping that my accountant will approve of this plan. I'm going to be reinvesting that money into Singe for next year's launches. So that is my plan, and hopefully they will be approving that, because that is what I would like to do, so that I can make sure that I keep a good quality with launches, and that like stuff turns out the way that I want to. And maybe I can give myself my first paycheck from Singe during next year. And again, this is a little side hustle for me. This is a little side project. This is a passion project. So I don't need it. I don't need it to be making money at this point. I honestly, right now, this is just something for me that's like just so much fun and so exciting to be able to do everything myself. So technically, yes, I have not made any money from Singe, but I could give myself a paycheck if I wanted to. There's definitely money in the business, but I just want to invest it into fun new things for the future. Oh my god, there are some here that I can't answer without giving away what's gonna happen at the end of this year, so keep your eyes open. Keep your eyes open. You never owned the original Naked palette. That is true. That is a true assumption about me. I only owned, well, this is not true either, because I did own the Naked Wild West and the Naked Ultraviolet, but from the original like 3 Naked palettes, the 1, 2, and 3, I only owned number 3, which was that pinky one. And it was one of the first, like, not the first, but one of the first high-end eyeshadow palettes I bought. And I remember then when I started using more like indie makeup palettes, because at that point I was using the Makeup Addiction Cosmetics. Do you remember that? I got that one, and it is so much better than the Naked 3, and I was like, huh. It really made me realize that the Naked 3, it just really isn't for me as someone who loves a little bit more bold and experimental makeup. But yeah, I've definitely had the Naked 3, but I don't own it anymore, and I never had the original Naked palette, and the main reason is that even as a beginner, that wasn't the color story that I was into, but I totally see why someone would be. Because overall, it was very exciting for that time. This one I will say, if you make an assumption of someone, don't put something like this in, because you never know what someone might be going through. Let me actually just put up 2 here that I don't think that you should be making assumptions about people. Don't make assumptions about being on the spectrum. Don't make assumptions about kids and wanting kids. Like, you never know what's behind any of this, and you really shouldn't be making assumptions like this about anyone. So please try, when I say like don't hold back, I still mean like within the boundaries of what is like socially acceptable. And I don't think that any of these are socially acceptable. Ooh, this one is very exciting because it is so incorrect. And this one is, you smoke. No, I do not. I actually have never smoked when I was younger. When I was a kid. Back in the golden days. It was only the cool kids that smoked, and I, quite honestly, was never cool enough to be in that crowd and to be with the kids that smoked. So no, I never smoked. And for some reason in my school, you know, when you watch, like, if you're European, you might get this more. When you watch the American high school movies, it was always the ones with like, that was in sports and with good grades that were the popular girls. That was not the case in my school, not even a little bit. And I've heard that from other schools in Sweden as well. And I would love to know about that, like, from you as well. Because my friend group, we were the smart kids, not nerds, but we were the smart kids. Some of us were like, really, not me, but other people were like good with music and really good at sports. But the cool kids were the kids that had awful grades, that were too cool for school, and that like smoked and missed classes. Like, those were the cool kids. And I'm not saying that as like those were like the rebels or the cool kids like that. I'm saying those were our plastics, if I'm making a Mean Girls reference. If you had good grades, like, you were not cool. Like, you could not sit with them. So that was a very different thing for me. But I never smoked. I've never smoked. My dad smoked. My dad died of lung cancer. It's a very painful way to go. He died, I would say, maybe 5-6 years ago. So I still have it fresh pretty much in my memory, like how my dad looked before he died of lung cancer. So yeah, that would get anyone to never want to smoke, honestly, because that was so painful to watch and to be a part of. Yeah, no, I've never smoked, and I will never smoke, and Ricardo doesn't smoke either, and neither of our parents on either side smokes. I don't really have a lot of people around me that smoke, if I'm gonna be honest. It's not super common in Sweden. I think it's actually one of the countries that smoke the least in the world. But yeah, it's not super common in Sweden to smoke. Of course, people do. Some people do, but yeah, I've actually never smoked. It's never been my thing. I did some brows, and I'm gonna do some lips, and then we can continue. I'm gonna use this one again. This is the Colourpop Cream Blush, but this one is in Sunset Strip. Sunset Strip. Like I said, Swedish is better than English. I did not like the one I wore, the one that's like Bali something. I didn't like it at all on my skin, but I've realized that these are so sheer that you actually have to like use a color that's darker than you would usually use, and you actually have to go in a bit on your brush to make it look okay. And then when you do, I really did like this one on my skin, but as you can tell, you're not getting that shade, and I am really packing it on my brush, so they are very, very sheer. So if you want to try these, go a color darker than you would usually do, I would say. I think this one is really interesting because this one leans into like, how is it socially acceptable for you to talk about yourself? And this one is, you're truly gorgeous, but you give off someone who thinks you're better than anyone else vibes. And I think this is very interesting because I think we live in a society where we are not supposed to talk ourselves up. I am not a person that thinks that I am better than anyone else. I am very assertive though as a person because I know that I am as good as everyone else. And I think that we are, especially in Sweden, we're living in this like way that we're supposed to like oh, no, I'm not that good, I'm not that smart, I'm not that pretty, oh, silly old me, what do I know? And since I'm not that, I'm pretty, I'm fun, I'm smart, I'm a good person, I am a good, hardworking person that is nice to other people. I am loyal, I am kind, I am generous, I'm funny, and I like myself. And since I talk myself up like that, people think that I am better than anyone else. And no, I think I am just as good as you, because you are also smart, funny, intelligent, just generous, a good person with a good heart, and you look great too. And I think that like, you're not allowed to talk yourself up. It's like we're living in a world, especially women. Ooh, did you watch the Barbie movie? I might have cried a bit during that like feminism speech, because it's not easy being a woman. Because if you like yourself too much, you're stuck up. Who do you think you are? Who do you think you are liking yourself? You're a woman. You're not supposed to like yourself. And I do like myself. I like myself and I know that I'm a good person. But here's the thing. You're a good person too. And I know that you're a good person. So it's not me saying that I am better than you. It's me saying, or more like acknowledging, that I am aware that I am as good as you. And we are all good people. And I am just sick and tired of society telling us that we're supposed to be, they're like, oh, you're supposed to be modest. There's nothing modest about not loving yourself. You can be modest and still love yourself. And I love myself. And it's okay. A lot of people are commenting that like, oh, I hate the US, or I hate Texas, or I hate living here. I don't really hate living here, but I also don't see myself living in the US for my entire life. And maybe that's why I'm like okay with it. Because like I know that most probably it all depends, of course, of like my husband's career. We're here because of my husband's career. So if his career keeps him here, like it is what it is. But like I'm a very positive person that always sees the good in everyone and always sees the good in every situation. So I'm just making the best of the situation. I'm here now. I can't do anything. Well, I can, but I'm not gonna do anything about it. So I'll just make the best of the situation and just enjoy the time that we have here and see the good in this place, because there are definitely good in all places. We just sometimes have to look a little harder. Oh, and this one is, you have a shopping addiction. No, I don't. Like I said before, I don't even like shopping. And for me, I think we use the word addiction sometimes a little too loosely, because I'm gonna be using this one for the first time. That's the Frosting Highlighter Palette by Cosmic Brushes. Let me actually put up some swatches in low light so that you can see the shifts, because I want to be using this so bad. I do not have a shopping addiction because I have no problems whatsoever not shopping. I don't need to buy stuff. I like having new stuff to wear, and I like curating my collection and getting like shoes and like stuff like that to wear that like fits me perfectly. I think we're actually going to be using this one, the green one, because I feel like, you know, you always pick the pink one. Let me pick the green one. But I like having my own style, and I like wearing my things, and I like finding stuff where I'm like, oh, this is gonna fit in perfectly with my wardrobe and stuff like that. I'm gonna use the green up here. But I definitely don't need to be shopping. And if I didn't have a YouTube channel, I definitely would be buying less makeup. For sure. I'm gonna use a little bit of the pink here. But it's not an addiction. Like, I don't overspend. I never buy anything on Afterpay. I don't even use credit cards. I don't overspend, and I don't spend. When I say I'm not gonna buy something, I won't buy it. I have no problems sticking to that. I don't feel like, I never say that like, oh, I'm not gonna buy any more makeup, and then I end up buying makeup anyways. That is not who I am. That's not how I shop. So I definitely don't have an addiction. And I never like overspend, and I never spend money I don't have. And I definitely like the feeling of using and wearing my new stuff more than I like buying it. And I think for a lot of people that have an addiction of shopping, it's very glowy, maybe a little bit too glowy for this look. I think a lot of them like they like the feeling of buying it more than they like the feeling of using it. And I like using it more than I like buying it. I'm just gonna use a little bit more powder to blend these together. That is very, very blinding. I guess that's the That's the look we have today. Oh, that's the look we have today. I said a while ago that I was gonna do a look with the 3 sister palettes from Cosmic Brushes. So I'm gonna use these palettes together today. And let me just quickly show you what these look like inside. I already have dedicated videos on all of these palettes, so I will leave those down below in case you want to see swatches and all of that. Let me quickly just show you the palette. This is the newest palette, Delicious Delights. Let me just quickly put up just a couple of seconds of swatches. If you want to see it more, you can always slow it down, or you can take a pause, or you can click the video. I will link it in the description box with these palettes. But this is the newest palette, and I'm going to be matching that with the Muse palette that looks like this. Oh, the Delicious Delights palette, by the way, it's unused because they sent me a new one that wasn't broken. So I have used it, but I've just not used this one that isn't broken. So the Muse palette is the more like grungy muted one. And then we have the one that started the love. This is the Serenity palette, very bright and blue. And I'm wearing a blue and green dress today. I'm not 100% sure. I need to think a little bit what I want to do. So let me take a second and think of what I want to do and fetch another question, because I know there were some more juicy ones in here. Okay, I'm just gonna say the shade that I am like using from the palette, because I'm gonna be using quite a few different shades, and we'll just take it from there. Just bear with me. So this first one is Zesty from the Delicious Delights. This one is fun because I think that like people that know me behind the scenes, or like my friends, especially my friends and before YouTube, and like my husband would laugh at this one. And it is "You're very vain and afraid of aging and looking ugly, hence the plastic surgery." And I like looking like me. I don't know if that makes sense. So I've done plastic surgery on my I've done a breast augmentation to make my breasts look the way that they looked before when I was younger. And is that vain to do that? Maybe. But I'm definitely not the person that cares at all about like if people think I'm pretty or not. Like I don't care at all. Like I don't do my makeup to look pretty, and I don't dress up to have others think I'm pretty. I just do what I think is fun. And a lot of the times I will wear no makeup because like I didn't have the energy, or I didn't have the motivation, or I didn't have the time to like do it properly. I don't know. Am I vain? I don't know. I think I'm vain for me. Like I want to look a certain way and I want to feel a certain way, but I'm definitely not doing it for others. And I will, like I'm walking my dogs in this neighborhood every day in sweatpants, socks and sandals, with just sometimes even like my PJs, and I don't care. And I go to gatherings and to like parties and movies and barbecues without any makeup whatsoever. And it's that like, it's not me expecting to get like, oh, here you have a cookie for being like, no, it's not like that. It's more like I don't really do it for anyone else. I do it for me. I don't even like think I do it for my husband, if I'm gonna be honest. Okay, I'm using Charms now, also from Delicious Delights, which is that purple that was broken when I got my palette, and it got like, ooh, that's pretty, got all over my palette. So am I vain? Maybe, for me. But like I would never fix anything on me because you or my husband or society thought that it needed to look a certain way. Because that I couldn't give less shits about that. This one is very accurate. You rage when you play video games, like LOL. Lol. Yeah, I am definitely a very temperamental gamer. I love playing video games. Okay, let me rephrase. I do not rage or get upset with video games that I am in the learning phases, or that like I don't know. Like right now we're playing Diablo, me and my husband. There's no way I'm gonna rage about that because I clearly do not know what I'm doing. But yeah, I definitely have a temperament when playing video games. And if you have ever played World of Warcraft with me, like my best friend has, when we met in World of Warcraft back in the heydays, Wrath of the Lich King, Cataclysm. I think we even played parts of Pandaria together. I have a tendency of becoming upset when I think that people are messing up, or when I think that people are not paying attention or bringing their A game. I especially have a really hard time accepting why people don't come prepared to group activities. So yeah, and that's also like why I don't feel like I want to be streaming, because I don't know if I want people to see that side of me. This one is very easy. This is, you don't use a lot of older loved makeup. Absolutely untrue. Right now I'm using the foundation that was my favorite foundation of last year, which is the Makeup Forever foundation. I do use a lot of my older favorites when it comes to makeup, but not always on camera, because it's not always what people want to see on camera, which I respect, but I try to bring them in every now and then. Like a video like this is absolutely perfect. I think I'm gonna use the Make-A-Wish from Serenity, which is the pastel purple, and I think I'm gonna put that here. This one is also very easy for me to say that this is not true, and this is, you're pretty unconfrontational. No, that is not me. I don't have a problem with conflict, but I don't like leaving stuff hanging. So if I feel like we have something that we need to talk about, or that we need to talk out, or if I hear that you are talking like shit about me, I will either confront you, or I will just literally just block you and move on. That has happened. I've heard of people both in the beauty community and also like friends offline. I've heard that from others that they have talked shit about me, and I just like unfriended them on Facebook, deleted their name in my phone book, and next time I've met them, they came up and they're like, hi, how are you doing? And I literally told her, I'm like, we don't have to pretend. And she said nothing and just walked away, because she was not confrontational. But I have no problem being like, why are you pretending to like me? Like, we know that you don't, like, and now I know as well, so you really don't have to pretend anymore. And it's the same in the beauty community. I have heard or seen some people talk shit about me to others, and also to brand owners and to other creators, and I just unfollow them and never talk to them again, because I don't need that. It's not like maybe I'm gonna call you out, but like, I'm not also gonna make a fuss about, like, I'm not gonna pretend that we're still friends, or like, because I don't want to be confrontational. Like, no, I'll just cut you off. And if I need to meet them in real life, like I said before with that other friend, I have no problem being like, we don't have to pretend like we're not friends. I'm gonna use a little bit of Water Lily that's in the Muse palette. That's a little bit more of a muted, almost like a light olive. And I'm just gonna use a little bit of that here for a transition. This one I think is interesting, because I actually, this is a double no, but this applies to most social media peeps. Transition from camera persona to not is hard. And I don't have a camera persona, but I kind of wish I did. I kind of wish, because I actually think the opposite. I think it's probably super nice to have a camera personality where you don't have to give so much of you to your audience. Because the more you share with your audience, and trust me on this one, if you're new on YouTube, know this, the more you share about yourself, the more criticism you're gonna get. Because it gives people more ammunition. It gives people more reasons to dislike you. Like, if you say that you like yourself, all of a sudden you're stuck up. And for example, like, I have people that get upset with me when I say that I am able to pay my rent with the money that I make with my company on YouTube. And people say I'm bragging about money. Only in America can it be bragging when I say that, like, I am able to pay my rent with my salary. That's a good thing. That's the goal. That's what we're all striving towards, right? That the work that we do on a day-to-day basis, it actually pays the rent. So yeah, the more you share about yourself, the more people will have ammunition to go after you. And if you're just having a persona online, you're not sharing the actual you. And I honestly think that in a lot of ways, that's probably easier. I don't think I'm that good of an actor though. I would not be able to pretend to be someone else for this many years. I mean, I'm celebrating, what is it, 8 or 9? 9? 8? 8? 9? I don't know. I don't know how many years I'm celebrating being on YouTube this August. And I just really, I would not be able to keep up the charade for that long. Ooh, this is just a fun, actually kind of a, it doesn't really mean that much, but it's kind of fun because it's not true. I think I'm gonna do Awake. That is from the Serenity palette. I think I'm gonna do Awake. And I'm using, per usual, my own brushes, which always makes me super happy. You like spicy food. I don't dislike spicy food, but I can't do spicy food. And this is why I'm trying to be smart with not overworking myself. If this is the background story to why I'm trying to not overwork myself. Back when I was in my early 20s, I stressed a lot. I had multiple different jobs, and I also had a then boyfriend that was, he was a stress moment in itself, let's just put it like that. And I got diagnosed with having an ulcer in my stomach, like a wound in my stomach, basically. And I was given a lot of instructions of how to curb that so that I didn't have to have surgery, because I was so young, and they were like, we really do not want to have that kind of a surgery on someone young, because I was like, I think I was 21. Honestly, when this happened. And one of the things that they told me that I shouldn't be eating was spicy food. And they also told me, like, no coffee, no alcohol, no tea, no chocolate, no citrus fruit, like the list goes on. And with time, I have been experimenting here and there, just trying to be like, so what is the best for me? What is the worst for me? And I have noticed with time that the thing that really wakes up the sleeping bear is spicy food. My stomach just does not like it, and I literally get cramps for like an 8-hour time, sometimes so bad that I had to go to the ER and get like a shot of something just basically sedative, because it's just such a bad cramps. I just roll up into a ball. Sometimes I throw up out of pain. It's just really, really painful. So I try to stay clear of spicy food, because sometimes I get this super weird and violent reaction of it. So I don't mind spicy food, but I try to avoid it, because I know that spicy food, especially in combination with stress and alcohol and coffee, and I love my coffee, and lots of sugar and fat, it just makes my stomach go into an actual rebellion. So this is Slushy from the Delicious Delights palette, and I'm just gonna use a little bit of that here, just to get something a little darker blue in the crease. This one is exciting. I love talking about money, because I think there's so many conceptions about money, and I think that, and I get this question like on my stories sometimes in Instagram, how are you able to like afford this lifestyle? And this one says, you are rich and spend a lot of money. I am not rich, but me and my husband were 2 grown adults with university degrees. We both have careers and jobs, and we have no debt, and we have no kids. And I think that sometimes people forget how much money you can just spend on frivolous things like traveling and just restaurants and bags, if you don't have debt or kids, when you have 2 like salaries and just, I don't know, no kids. That looks incredible. My Italian is coming out. I'm still trying. This is my first step, by the way, of learning Italian. Riccardo's dad is coming here to visit, and I told him that I want to learn Italian, and I swear there was this twinkle in his eye, and he was like, really? So I before he comes, he's coming at the end of September. I think I'm gonna download, like, do you prefer Babbel or Duolingo? And maybe he can help me a bit, because like I want to learn Italian so bad, and he is Italian, like he's born in Italy. So yeah, that's a sidetrack. But yeah, I think that like people forget how much money you can spend on frivolous things when you're not spending them on debt or kids. And also, like, we had 2 paychecks, and I know a lot of households in the US only have 1 paycheck because the other partner has to be home with their kids, which is like perfectly fine. I have nothing against that, but like, it's not that we are rich. It is that we are just spending our money on stuff that like is fun instead of having to spend them on stuff that like we need or we want. I will say though, I've spent a lot of money on my pets as of late. Maybe I will talk about that in a future video. Tesla's been to the ER twice. Kaisa's been having like the mouth surgery. I will talk about if you want to, I can bring that up maybe in an update. He's fine though. He's fine, but like I've literally spent like $2,000-3,000 on my dogs as of late, and that's been exciting. I do get some of the money back on the insurance that we have on them, but like, yeah. Maybe that's the not so fun part, spending money on. But it's fine though, I don't mind it. I would spend $1 million more if I had to, but yeah, it's not that we are rich, it's just that we don't have to spend our money on things that a lot of other adults are spending their money on. I will say though that I am, and this is not a secret, I dream of having a home, but I also like the housing market is just so crazy and so volatile right now that like I really don't want to get a mortgage right now. So I'm saving up still so that I can like maybe have as little of a mortgage as possible and maybe buy something affordable, because like I don't want a big house, I just want my house. And I also would like to have as low mortgage as possible because of how the mortgage market is looking. Okay, this is so good. I'm absolutely in love. So what are we doing for shimmers? I'm thinking we'll do the opal one, which is the one that's like greenish on the inner side to keep it light and bright. And then maybe, what would we want to do on the outer part? Maybe is this one a little too, or do we want to do, oh my god, I don't know what I'm doing. Maybe we'll do this one actually, the sugar plum, the blue. That's not the worst idea I've ever had. Let's do that. And I'm gonna put that here in the middle of the lid. Oh, and there's a purple shift to it. That is actually perfection. This shadow was made for this look. I did some in my waterline too, and now I'm gonna do opal, the green one. Am I gonna spray this one too? It's like a iridescent topper. That's like the shade you see front is like a green. So I'm gonna put that just a little bit here, but not in the inner corner. Yeah, I think that this is gonna be perfect. And now I'm just following up with some of that zesty, which was the like almost pastel-y lime. I think this is where I'm gonna end up. Let me just see if I can do, this is whipped cream, the matte white from the Delicious Delights. And I'm just gonna put that in my inner corner. Yeah, wow. That turned out so good. So the makeup is done, everything is on. Should I go down a little bit more? I am loving how this is looking. And I saw there was another question about money, and I thought that maybe this sums me up better. And the assumption is that you are very calculating with money, not mean, but very, very careful. Yes, I am very deliberate with my money. I am very aware of how much money that comes in and how much money I'm spending and how much money I want to be saving. I am very calculated in like how much money I want to be saving, what I think is an appropriate amount of money to have saved, all of these things. So yeah, I definitely am careful in a way that I'm also extremely aware of that the money that me and my husband are making now, that's not necessarily reflecting of the future. Like, you never know where you're gonna be. So I always like to have money saved in case everything just goes up into flames. I like to have money saved. And I said that when I when was that? When I quit my job to do YouTube full time because we were moving to the States. I did do a video where I was talking about like some of the things that I made sure that I had for me before I quit. And one of them was I wanted to make sure that I had a fund of saved up money in case something happens and I'm not like able to do the job that I'm doing right now. And I mentioned that I had a full year of income saved, and I still have not touched that money, that amount, so that I am able, if something happens, if we get sick, if we need to move, if one of us loses our job, or if one of us are forced to move into another, you never know what's gonna happen. We have some emergency funds because both of us are working in a very unstable like business area. He's in academia, I'm in social media, like you never know what's gonna happen. So we still have that like emergency fund. Shit hits the fan, we're still able to pay rent. So yes, I am very calculated with my money for sure. That is definitely, but I'm not what do you call it, frugal? Is that what you call? I'm not frugal. I am a very generous person. If my husband says like, oh, we should really go and like get some new sneakers, listen, we're going tomorrow, we're getting sneakers, I'm paying. I'm not frugal, but I'm just very aware of how much I'm spending, how much I'm making, and how much I would like to be saving. And I am actually really, really good with money, and I'm actually very proud of myself for being that. It's actually also something that my mom told me last time I met her, that she's so proud of how good I am with money and how well I am functioning as an adult, basically. And that's really nice to hear from your mom. It made me very, very happy. So thank you so much for giving me these assumptions. Let me know if you would like me to do something like this again. I always ask on my Instagram because that's the easiest way to get these kind of like questions or get these kind of assumptions or whatever prompt it might be that I put up. So if you want to be a part of this, I definitely will say that Instagram is the way to go. I put it on my Instagram stories. But yeah, let me know in the comments if you would like me to do this again. I can do it again in a couple of months. I love filming these kind of videos, and I don't really get offended because again, I'm very assertive. I know my worth, and I am as good as you, and you are as good as me. I hope you're having a great day, and I will see you soon in a new video. Bye!